Okay, YouTube. Hey, wanted to go through Coleman Model 200. I wanted to talk through about 20 years worth. The one here far on the left here is from 1951, and we're going to go all the way through over to 1972 and just kind of point out some of the differences. Maybe not all the differences, but just wanted to kind of see in a quick snapshot in like 20 years worth what has really changed and what's kind of stayed the same. Anyway, let's get started. We'll look at the one. We'll just go from left to right and kind of take a look at each of these, and we won't try to make this too long of a video, but we'll see what we can get talked about here. So okay, so let's talk about this this particular one here. This is the first model. This is just the 200A, or sorry, take that back. This is just model 200. The 200A distinctions came later, and but it started off with just the 200A. So the first one here is made in the USA, and the second one here is made in Canada. So they made the USA model. This particular one is a Model 200, and it was made in January of 1951. You'll see that some of the differences here. I wanted to just point out and compare these two. This is why this one's in here, so I could kind of show you some of the differences. Some of the main differences that I can spot are the stamping is, you know, on the Canadian one here, it's on the front. And so the Canadian one, look at that, and you can clearly see here, this says, you know, August 55 right here, made in Canada. But over here on the US one, this was made in the USA, and the stamping is not on the front where the valve wheel and stuff is. So to see that, you have to go onto the back. You can see on the collar, it says made in the USA, just model 200 there. And then when we look at the back, it's stamped right there, made in the USA. It's on the back. So I would consider this the back and the valve on the front. So anyhow, same here. So if you go over here to the Canadian one, it's a Model 200, but the stamping is totally different. You can look at the differences here. They're just slightly different. I'm not totally sure if this is nickel. This here is nickel plated, but I'm not sure if the collar on the Canadian one is nickel plated like the USA one. Just was going to take a look and see if there's anything else I see difference wise. I think the only other thing that I'm seeing is the valve wheel. We have just made in Canada here on this one, and this one says made in the USA, and slightly different wording, or font, I should say. Yeah, but there's the two differences there. As far as the globes go, you know, this one says made in the USA on it, whereas this one, let's see what this one says. It does not say made in the USA. It just says Coleman. And then on the back, you can see here it says made in the USA. It says Pyrex USA. And then on this one, let's see if this has got the same markings. Nope. So this is a different different globe. So there's the. So we're looking at. You know, the first one here being, they only made this in the USA for about a year, maybe just slightly over a year. This one here is then produced in Canada in 1955 through the 50s. Now, I don't have all the 200s. In the mid-50s, they made a red top vent with a green base fount, and that was considered like a Christmas lantern, but I don't have one of those, and that would kind of fall into this middle ground here. Moving on up here, we have, we're going to move right into the third one. And then this is when they started putting the A distinction on these 200 models. And this particular one is from September 1959. And so you can clearly see the decal they started using, has a yellow frame around it. And then you can look at the vents here, and the vents, are pretty consistently the same. One thing to point out here between these is the vent nut here has straight, sorry, was not paying attention there. The vent nut got straight grooves on there, whereas I think 1962 is when they started going to a kind of crisscross, cross-hatched vent nut. So the texture on there is just different. So I would say that this particular one has been replaced. That should be a straight one since this is from 1959. So it should have a vent nut like this. So I'd say that's probably a replacement nut. At some point down the road, it changed. So you can see that through all of these, the pump has a flathead screwdriver, screws on each side of the pump, and you can see it gets marked as a 200A, which is, let's see if we can get that to focus. There it is. And real nice, pretty red color here. Let's keep moving on. This particular one, this one's, you can clearly see it's a little bit darker. And this is considered a Burgundy. And they only, I think they produce these for maybe a year or 2 years or so. This particular one is from January of 1962. And you can see that it has the straight vent nuts there. The vent nut is straight marks here on the vent nut. So the only thing I can see, beside the color and the decal, you can see the decals have sort of changed a little bit. They've deleted the yellow border around the decal. One thing to note here is I'm not sure if this is original, if this has been replaced as well. This is a black valve wheel, whereas all the other ones are red. And I'm not sure if this is original or not, so I couldn't really comment on that. One other thing to point out here is they did go to a clip. And looking at this, looks like somebody's really chewed this up with a pair of pliers. To move these, get these off, I usually just insert a small screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and just pry them off, and they just pop right off. No harm done. But they went from, the 2 screws to a C-clip to keep the pump on. So that's one little difference there. Aside from the color, I think that's a pretty good runner. And then here's what I wanted to point out here again is, like, you're looking at the vents. Look at the difference in height. This one's got a tall vent, and this one's got a shorter vent. So, let's see, where are we at here? Number 5, this is October 1963, is this model here. You can see the decal has changed the font slightly. The C is a little bit smaller, and the globe it can be clear or yellow, amber. That can be changed out easily. But yeah, this is a 200A model, so there you go. So I just wanted to point out the fuel cap is a 3-piece fuel cap here, meaning if we have the screw as 1, the cap itself is 2, and then the part that's on the inside is number 3, and that's the part that keeps the gasket on the inside. So there's 3 pieces once you take it all apart and replace the gasket. All of these have the same fuel caps. This one over here, I'm not sure if that's original or not on the USA one or not, but okay, let's keep going here. Over here, we have a May of 1972, and this is what they called a gold bond, Coleman 200A. They made these during the gold bond eras of the United States, and they wanted to commemorate that with this mustard-colored yellow one. And so yeah, you can see the valve wheels turned black here, and obviously the paint color is the big difference here, as well as the cap is a one-piece cap, whereas everything else has been a three-piece cap. So those are some of the differences. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to show you guys a video of all these. And if you have any questions or would like to see one of these lit up, be happy to do that. If there's a different model that you'd like to see in detail, I can see if I have it in my stash here. Otherwise, and we'll you know, take a look at see what we got. And yeah, so there you have it. There's 20 years approximately of the Coleman Model 200, and you can kind of quickly see a difference in about 20 years worth of the Coleman history. So there you have it.